Good evening. Hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. Our big talking point tonight. Will Prime Minister Modi meet the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping at the BRICS summit? Are India-China ties firmly back on track? Also, our contentious talking point. Are we now going to see a growing South-North divide on population policy? Will Southern Chief Ministers now go ahead and say abandon the two-child policy? We'll raise that question too tonight. The big breaking news at this moment, Prime Minister Modi and Chinese Premier Xi Jinping are at the moment at the BRICS summit in Kazan in Russia, but there is a suspense over whether the two will hold their bilateral. There was much expectation that this summit will see the final break in the we'll see a thaw in relations between the two countries that for the last 4 years have been ice cold after what happened in Galwan, where the two countries' forces engaged in a face-to-face conflict. Putin bilateral is done. He's met with Prime Minister Modi, the Russian president, and Mr. Modi held a bilateral a short while ago. The bigger question is, will the meet with Xi be next? That's the question that's unanswered at the moment. There's been much speculation that Xi, who arrived a short while ago in Kazan, will meet the Indian Prime Minister. This comes a day after India announced that the two countries had reached an agreement on their standoff on the border. Let me now go across to Gaurav Sawant, who joins me live from Kazan. Gaurav, what are you picking up about a possible bilateral between the Chinese Premier and the Indian Prime Minister?
Rajdeep, a meeting with President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi could well take place tomorrow. We are told the meeting with the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian just got over moments ago. And when we asked the Iranian President Pezeshkian how was his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, remember it's the first meeting of the two heads of state and government, he said it was a very good meeting. President Pezeshkian has just taken over as President of Iran, and this is an icebreaker, the first meeting between the Iranian President and the Prime Minister of India. But if we were to talk about the meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping, that's likely to take place in the next 24 hours. I'm told there were scheduling issues today. It could not happen today. Even tomorrow is a packed day, packed BRICS summit day tomorrow. Remember, there are 5 additional countries that have joined this grouping. So Russia is able to send across that message. It's no longer isolated or not isolated at all, despite all the efforts made by the West. You have countries like Iran, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates. 5 countries have joined the BRICS summit. There are 20 others that are visiting or are visitors to this BRICS summit, and that shows Russia is not isolated. But as far as India is concerned, Rajdeep, all eyes on the meeting with the Chinese president. The optics so far have been that one, tensions are being dialed down, disengagement has taken place, but it's just a tactical first step. De-escalation and a de-induction of troops yet to take place, and right, unless that takes place, situation could deteriorate from bad to worse once again, and that is why India will only celebrate once de-escalation and ultimately disengagement and followed by de-induction of troops to their peacetime location takes place, Rajdeep.
Okay, we'll wait and see, Gaurav, whether that meeting takes place tomorrow. There is much speculation that it could happen as early as tomorrow. Gaurav Sawant joining us there from Kazan. Now, what has led to the anticipation of a Modi-Xi summit is the announcement of an agreement on patrolling all along the line of control by the MEA first yesterday. And today it was the Chinese Foreign Ministry that issued a statement confirming progress, but remained silent specifically on patrolling issues. Let us listen in first to the two statements.
I have the opportunity now to share with you. I can share with you that over the last several weeks, Indian and Chinese diplomatic and military negotiators have been in close contact with each other in a variety of forums. And as a result of these discussions, agreement has been arrived at on patrolling arrangements along the line of actual control in the India-China border areas, leading to disengagement and a resolution of the issues that had arisen in these areas in 2020. And we will be taking the next steps on this.
Over a recent period of time, China and India have been in close communication through diplomatic and military channels on issues related to China-India border. Now the two sides have reached resolutions on relevant matters, which China speaks highly of. Going forward, China will continue to work with India to implement these resolutions.
Okay, let's raise the big question. Will Prime Minister Modi now meet Xi Jinping as is being speculated? Are India and China ties really back on track, or is this another false dawn? Is a return to the 2020 status quo pre-Galwan really possible? Can India, most importantly, trust China? Those are questions I will pose to my guests. Joining me at the very top is Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, former DGMO, joins me. General Bhatia, do you expect a de-escalation now to follow, a disengagement to follow? The Chinese statement today is rather short on specifics. While it says, yes, progress has been made, we've agreed to resolve pending issues, it's not yet clear whether disengagement, de-escalation will take place almost immediately.
Rajdeep, it's a good beginning. I must say that it's a win-win for both India and China. But having said that, I think it's just a start, and we have a long way to go. The trust has been broken. There's no trust right now. China has thrown the 5 agreements into the dustbin in April of 2020. So it's got to be rebuilt. The whole thing has to be rebuilt, and rebuilding takes a lot of time. And it's a good beginning. It's a win-win, like I said, and we have to wait and watch, and we should not let our guard down. Our vigil should be as, if not as good, better than what it was earlier. Because if we let our guard down, the trust deficit continues, and we in for another strategic surprise as we had seen in 2020 earlier.
Because General Bhatia, today Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi said Indian forces will disengage with China in Ladakh only after the situation at the LAC returns to the status quo of April 2020. Now, there is some question mark whether the Chinese are willing to return to a status quo. That would mean the infrastructure that they have built pre-2020 or in the last few years will have to be dismantled. We don't know whether this is an agreement only to return to patrolling as existed pre-2020 or whether the infrastructure will also be dismantled. So should we be more cautious before we celebrate in any manner?
There are no celebrations. I think we just agreed to disengage. The process itself will be time-consuming. It will take time. We'll have to go over each sector, sub-sector-wise, what is to be done, and that is where the fine print will come to being. As far as agreement is concerned, at least there's a win on both sides, on Chinese side especially, and on Indian side to disengage. Because disengagement is the first step. De-escalation will follow much later, and thereafter de-induction. So I think we should just look at disengagement, and we should look at our stance of status quo ante as of 4th of May 2020. That's the date which is given. And to that extent, we'll have to take it easy today. We'll have to take it easy tomorrow, and we'll see what the Chinese respond. And it should be, it should be equal. They should equality in it. There is mutual security in this. And we should not just go overboard that disengagement taking place, and we should see that everything will be normal. We should continue to build our capabilities, enhance capacities, build infrastructure, invest in infrastructure, and that should continue. No rebalancing should take place, no reinduction should take place, and we should give a pat to ourselves because we are ensured no escalation after Galwan. So that is something we have demonstrated strategic resolve, and that we should continue to. But China respects strength, and we should speak to China from a position of relative strength, both on the ground, militarily and diplomatically.
So in your view, therefore, this is the right time to hold that meeting between the two leaders. They haven't met, at least in a bilateral now for 5 years, not since Galwan 2020. Given that both sides have now made these announcements, do you anticipate or expect or believe there should now be some kind of a meeting by the two principals, the Chinese president and the Indian Prime Minister, to at least break some bit of the standoff that exists on the border?
Yes, I think a meeting will be in order. It will be good for both countries because we have to understand that China also needs India as much as India needs peace and tranquility, China also needs peace and tranquility. China has opened up too many fronts, be it South China Sea, Taiwan, East Sea, Korea, and India-China border in any case. So if the two leaders meet and there's again strategic guidance given, which is implemented, so that will be a very good thing. And the two leaders have not met for the last 5 years now. It was last was 11th October 2019, Mahabalipuram. But prior to that, they've met 18 times. Despite the 18 meetings in 5 years, we had Galwan. So the point is that whatever happens, we will have to ensure that we maintain our strength out there, we maintain our posture out there, which is robust and which is equal and mutual to the Chinese buildup.
General Bhatia, for joining me and giving us a sense of what you expect and what you hope for. I appreciate you joining me. That is the story, of course, that we will keep tracking. It's a developing story, and we'll have obviously more details on that over the next 24 hours if that meeting goes ahead. Thanks very much for joining me, General Bhatia. Let me turn from there to the big news break that's coming in from state of war Maharashtra, where now political sources are telling us that both the major alliances have finalized or almost finalized their seat sharing. Sources now telling us that the BJP will get the biggest share in the Mahayuti as expected. More than 150 of the 288 seats in Maharashtra are likely to go to the BJP. The Congress is likely to get 105 to 110 seats and the lion's share in the Maha Aghadi. That's the opposition alliance. The seat sharing in Maharashtra has been very, very difficult for both sides. Remember, both alliances have 3 parties each, and that has caused considerable friction and confusion. The Mahayuti of the BJP, likely, as I said, 152 to 155. The Shiv Sena Shinde, the Chief Minister's party, 78 to 80. The NCP Ajit Pawar likely to get 52 to 54. On the other side, the the Mahavikas Aghadi, Congress likely to get 105 to 110. The Shiv Sena UBT likely to get 90 to 95. And the NCP Sharad Pawar likely to get 75 to 80. So that's how the division is working out. There were meetings today that were held where Sharad Pawar was asked to play a mediator between the Congress and Uddhav Thackeray. What happened at that particular meeting? Who better to tell us than Sahil Joshi, our Mumbai bureau chief, joins me. Sahil, is it a done deal now, or are there still some slip-ups likely? About 15 to 20 seats on both sides, in both alliances, we are told, are still contentious.
Yes, there are certain seats which are still contentious because Congress and Shiv Sena are demanding the same seats in Vidarbha. But at least what has happened now is that the seats which are cleared by all the alliance partners, the political parties have started distributing the AB forms because the nomination filing has begins today, and that is because of that now there is hardly any time left. So most of the seats which are cleared, like Ajit Pawar almost distributed more than 40 AB forms yesterday and today. Even Shiv Sena started distributing AB forms. It's only BJP which has come up with the 99 candidates official list yet, but rest of the parties are just distributing AB forms and giving us the names, and we are putting it in various stories. But most importantly, by and large, now the seat sharing formula is clear. How many seats they are going to contest is very clear. But there is some tussle specifically between the Shinde and the BJP and the Congress and the Shiv Sena. In some places, Congress and NCP as well, but more or less in both the alliance partners, the Shiv Senas are more demanding.
Why
like
is that?
is demanding specific seats.
Explain that to us. Why is it that the two Shiv Senas, the Uddhav Sena and if I may call them the Shinde Sena, are the ones that are being most demanding? Is it because both of them are eyeing the Chief Minister's chair, Eknath Shinde hoping to retain it, Uddhav Thackeray hoping to get it, that they really are the ones who are battling it out, not just in Mumbai, Konkan, but want to also expand to other parts?
For Eknath Shinde, now Eknath Shinde's party thinks that his strike rate, his party's strike rate was the top among the Mahayuti alliance partners. So because of that, he should be getting more number of seats. He came on the table with asking 90 seats, almost 90 seats, which has now come down to almost 80 seats odd. So he's not ready to bargain below that. But despite that, there are certain seats in Mumbai where Eknath Shinde thinks that he's still not able to put his footing properly, because Uddhav Thackeray still holds the lot of cadre in cities like Mumbai. So that is because of that he thinks that there are certain seats where he should be putting up the candidates,
right,
which the BJP thinks that now is the time that they can improve their tally in Mumbai, so they are not ready to leave that. On the other side, where if you look at Uddhav Thackeray, he wants to be compensated for his possible loss in areas like Thane, because please understand, in United Shiv Sena, almost half of the seats Shiv Sena win from Konkan, Mumbai and Thane region. And out of that, except Mumbai, in Konkan and Thane, Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena is going to have a fierce fight with Eknath Shinde plus BJP plus in some places MNS as well. So he wants to be compensated in region like in Vidarbha, maybe in Marathwada as well. And that is where this tussle is happening. He also wants to ensure that he gets at least more number of seats than what Eknath Shinde gets in Mahayuti, you know, to emphasize that he's the real Shiv Sena and how he has managed to get more number of seats than that of Eknath Shinde.
Okay, Sahil Joshi explaining why the two Shiv Senas are the ones haggling for more seats. Maharashtra could well be renamed Mahamess. It's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the politics at the moment. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Sahil Joshi for joining me and giving us those details. Thank you very much. Let me turn from Mumbai to Bengaluru, because Bengaluru seems to be crumbling under heavy rainfall once again. An under construction building collapsed in the city earlier this evening. 3 bodies have been recovered so far, while 12 more are still trapped inside. Rescue operations are underway. Torrential rainfall has been pounding Bengaluru, leading to a total collapse of infrastructure once again. Roads waterlogged, houses inundated, and commuters left stranding. Those are the images, frightening images that are coming in at the moment from Bengaluru. Let's find out what's been happening on the ground. My colleague Sagai Raj has been reporting from there. Listen into what he had to say.
Building collapse site, you can see that this was an under construction building near Babasa Palya, which is close to Horamavu, and all of a sudden this under construction building collapsed this evening. And according to eyewitnesses over here, they claim that there were construction laborers who were stuck inside the building when it got collapsed. There is only drizzle right now here at Babasa Palya. There are no heavy rains, so there is no hurdle for them for any kind of rescue operation. The police, firefighters and other rescue operation personnel are here at the spot, and they are using all possible machineries, including JCBs, gas cutters and other things to ensure that they rescue all those people who are trapped inside this debris.
Okay, let's therefore stay in a way with what's been happening down south, because you've got now a unique situation being created. 2 chief ministers, first Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu and now Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, have ignited a debate on South India's aging population. In fact, both the chief ministers are calling now for a rethink of the existing 2-child family planning policy in their respective states. They claim that they could be hard done by because they are being penalized for having better population figures and thereby losing out on the financial support that's going in for the more populated northern states. How is all this playing out, and what is the politics behind it? And should India rethink, or parts of India rethink, a 2-child policy because of an aging population in some states? Take a look first at this special report.
For long, South Indian states have received praise for controlling population growth. After decades of successful family planning policies, political leaders are now wondering if it's time for a reversal. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has sparked a debate on the need for larger families to address concerns about an aging society.
Europe, China, Russia, even Japan, almost all countries. Everywhere aging problem is catching up. There is a big problem. Now we have to realize all these things. From now onwards we have to talk. Not only me, not only Stalin, even Karnataka, Kerala, tomorrow North India.
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin joined the debate and added another dimension, that of political representation. Stalin pointed to the impending delimitation of Lok Sabha constituencies, which, if applied purely in terms of population, would result in a drastic reduction of seats in South India.
அந்த 16 செல்வங்களை பற்றி வாழுங்கள் தான் அன்றைக்கு வாழ்த்தினார்கள். இப்போ யாரும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 16 செல்வங்களை பற்றி வாழுங்கள் வாழ்த்துறது இல்லை. அளவோடு பெற்று வளவோடு வாழுங்கள் என்று சொல்லுறோம். ஆனால் இன்னைக்கு நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியெல்லாம் குறையும் என்ற நிலை வருகிற போது ஏன் அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழ வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லுவோம். நாமும் 16 குழந்தைகளை பெற்றுக் கொள்ளலாமே என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய நிலை இன்றைக்கு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது. அதையும் நாம் மறந்துவிடக்கூடாது.
According to the India Aging Report 2023, the share of elderly population in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh is set to cross 19% in 2036. In comparison, the share in Bihar and UP will be less than 12%. Southern states also complain of losing out on central funds and grants and claim that they are being penalized for outperforming rest of the country in population control. Bureau Report, India Today.
South-North divide on population policy? No demographic dividend for the South any longer? Should the South be rethinking the two-child policy as Chandrababu Naidu and M.K. Stalin are suggesting? Is the real concern delimitation and what it will do to the political influence of the southern states? I am joined by S. Dharanidharan, the DMK spokesperson. Jyotsna Tirunagri is the TDP spokesperson. Poonam Mutreja is Executive Director, Population Foundation of India. Thank you all very much for joining us. I want to come to you, Mr. Dharanidharan, first, because let's get the politicians. Why are you all suddenly calling for a review of a two-child policy when across the world there could be the fear that the moment you call in for a review of the two-child policy, you're virtually telling people have more children? And that could lead some fear to another population explosion in some parts. We go from controlling population to exploding populations.
I see. Firstly and foremost, southern states, in particular Tamil Nadu and also Kerala,
yes,
had been very successful in following Indira Gandhi's one-child policy in 1970s. So in order to incentivize the states that follow the one-child policy, that delimitation of constituencies based on population was put on hold. We had the amendment in 1976, and again another amendment was made in 2001 for 25 years. But now the BJP government is hinting that they would have delimitation exercise. If such a delimitation exercise is done, number of representation from southern states will reduce from 25%, that is number of seats right now from south of India is 25%, they'll reduce to 18%. And in states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar would nearly double. And in fact, overall in BJP ruled states or where they are dominant, their representation will increase from 40% to 60%. And
no, so is your fear declining? No, Mr. Dharanidharan, is your fear declining political influence or is your fear an aging population? Let's get this clear. Do you fear that your state will have an aging population or do you fear that your state will lose its political influence?
See, firstly and foremost, it's the losing influence. In fact, even recently after the Modi government has come to power, the Financial Commission for the first time has started following the 2011 census instead of the 1971 census. And because of that, the funding we receive also reduces. See, in fact, what Chief Minister said in the TNHRNC meeting was also misquoted. What he was trying to say is, in Tamil Nadu we have the saying, Padinaru Petru Peruvalvu Valga, which means that have 16 children and have great life. This is Tamil historical saying. But he also went on to say that now we don't say that. Now no one says that have 16 children, have a great life. We just say be married, blessed and have a great life. But he's saying the policies of the union government might shift us to that old saying. That's all he said. He never said that. He never said anything about have more babies or less babies. But this was a quote he made, which has been blown out of proportion.
No, you're saying it's just a minute. You made your point. You're claiming he's been misquoted. Just a minute. Jyotsna Tirunagri, the fact though is Chandrababu Naidu is not being misquoted. He's making it very clear that we must have a review of the two-child policy, urging families to have more children. He's worried about an aging population. Is that his worry? Or is your worry the same as the DMK, that you will lose your political influence if your population stabilizes while North India's population continues to grow?
Sir, good evening to everyone. The point is, sir, Naiduji's concerns, they shouldn't be dismissed as, something very, very casual. The point is, the concern of Naiduji, it's a starting point for a more rational and a broader discussion, that rises above all these political and regional concerns. Let me put it very clearly, Rajdeep sir. It is above all. It is above the political concerns. It's above the regional concerns. It's above all these concerns. It's about the state.
Now, what is the concern? What is the concern? Is it aging population? Are you worried that you will go the way China did after a one-child policy?
Sir, let me complete, sir. My concern as a state and as the Chief Minister of the state, without a population boost for the state of Andhra Pradesh, we would be risking entering into an irreversible decline, where the elderly literally outnumber the younger generation, and the economy literally stagnates there, sir. We are worried about the economic growth. We are also worried about the aging factor and also the strain that it causes on the economy. And also, sir, this proposal of Naiduji, it actually extends. It aims to extend our demographic dividend, sir, where a larger proportion of the population is of the working age. That's our concern, sir. I think, Rajdeep sir, I'm clear. Our concern is to, make a larger proportion of the population of the working age, where it leads to prolonged economic growth due to a larger workforce contributing to the economy.
Okay, let me bring in Poonam Mutreja. But Poonam Mutreja, before you come in, I just want to put up a graphic, and I want you to explain this to our viewers. The fertility rate in southern states, Andhra Pradesh 1.7, Karnataka 1.7, Kerala 1.8, Tamil Nadu 1.8, Telangana 1.8. So this is the NFHS National Family Health Survey 2019 to 21. So they've reached replacement levels in all these states. On the other hand, we look at the states with the high fertility. Bihar 3.0, Meghalaya 2.9, UP 2.4, Jharkhand 2.3, Manipur 2.2, and Madhya Pradesh 2.0. So you have a situation where the southern states have reached replacement levels, they've plateaued their population growth. The northern states still remain above average. Is this, as Chandrababu Naidu has triggered this debate, is he right in saying this is a matter of concern? Could it lead to an aging population, first in the south and then across the country?
It is true. We already have an aging population much higher in the south compared to the north. We have more young generation and younger people in the north compared to the south. So the south is losing its advantage. The window is there for another 20 years for the south, but another 25 to 30 years for the north for a demographic dividend. But aging is a phenomena which is happening because of longevity. While fertility is declining, longevity is increasing, which shows progress. See, southern states, especially Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, they have shown huge progress, not just in terms of family planning or what is being called population control. They invested in education, health systems, better governance. Are they telling us that they want to go back to education systems and health systems that aren't better governed? Yes, it is going to the population.
They are saying review the two-child policy. They are saying review the two-child policy. Do not focus on that. Allow, if couples want to have more children, why not?
People don't want to have more than 2 children. In fact, they want 1.8 children average for the country. If you look at NFHS figures again. So when people want to have fewer children, look at the economic cost of bringing up a child in India. Education opportunities, the demand is far more, it outstrips supply. Look at health. Again, we see the same issue. You have malnutrition across this country. It's not just northern states. We need to respect the aspirations of women and families who want to have fewer children. Don't do your politics on the body of women and their reproductive justice and rights. Look at the issue head on. The elephant in the room is delimitation. And what you need to do is, Chandrababu Naidu is in the best place to speak with his coalition partners of finding a solution that states that have done well, like Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, are not punished, whether it is number of constituencies or the amount of funding they get, and aging. Suddenly, Mr. Naidu has raised that issue, and I'm very glad he's raised it, but not in the context of women having more children. That is flawed, and it hasn't worked in any part of the world. Once population declines and women decide because of education, geographical location, and other social reasons, they decide not to have children, there is nothing the world has been able to do anywhere else in the world, including the countries Mr. Naidu was naming. You cannot switch women's reproductive production on and off.
That's the question. That's the question, Jyotsna, to you first, because as I said, it's Mr. Naidu who's triggered it. We would have thought that a politician like him, who's very careful and measured normally about the words he uses, when he says, I urge families to have more kids, it can just send out the wrong signals. A lot of this is about signaling. And as is being pointed out by Poonam Mutreja, there's an economic cost involved for every family that then decides to have more children. This is the people don't, this is coming bottom up. The people don't want more children. Why are the politicians then forcing them to have more?
See, Rajdeep sir, when I gave my opening comments, I was very clear. I said we need to look at the broader aspect of it, first thing. And yes, sir, certain things, as you said, might signal wrongly. But if you remember when Naiduji spoke about IT revolution long back, people said, no, he's speaking nonsense. He's not talking with he's actually targeting agriculture. They said that too, Rajdeep sir. You were there then too. So my point is, we have to look at it in a broader aspect, and it's not about, and again,
no, what is the broader aspect? You see, what is the broader aspect? In 2024, what he is saying, he fears that by 2047, India will have an aging population. Therefore, we should abandon a two-child policy. But is he looking at the social and economic consequences of what he's saying at the moment?
Sir, let me complete, sir. When the two-child policy was brought in, it was the same Naiduji again who said that no, according to that day's circumstances and situations, we wanted that. Yes, so it is dynamic, sir. We have to understand the dynamic situations also. And again, it's just not, it's a policy, that's a proposal from our end, sir. We are not imposing, first thing. We are trying to talk to people. It's just a discussion that
you want to ignite a debate. Okay, you want to ignite a debate and have a public debate on it, which is okay. That's a valuable debate to always have. The question is the way it will be interpreted. What is being seen, Salem Dharni Dharan, is somewhere this is becoming north versus south, or south versus the rest of India, especially north and east, where population growth rates tend to be higher. Is this, as I come back to it, simply southern states worried about declining political influence, southern states worried about whether they will be penalized for their better population growth figures?
See, firstly, it's not north versus south, it's not someone versus the other. It's versus fairness versus unfairness, right? We have followed the policy of the government, and which was desirable back in the days, because our TFR overall was around 4 in 1970s. So we did the right thing. But right now, by penalizing states for following birth control and trying to bring in delimitation and to increase the proportion of seats from northern states where Prime Minister Modi's party has an advantage, as gerrymandering, that's unfair. Right? We are being penalized for unfairness. So we are being penalized unfairly. Right? So this is very wrong. As you rightly said, TFR in Tamil Nadu is 1.8. So we have more deaths than number of births. And TFR of states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar is around 3.5 to 4 even now. Right? So why are we being penalized here? If Prime Minister Modi and his party had encouraged states like Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, we wouldn't be having such debate. He should have taken us into confidence, and maybe in the Financial Commission, we should have been allocated more money for doing family control policy better, right? So, but not kind of disincentivize. He should have incentivized. So the problem comes from where? It comes from the policymakers in Delhi. So which is what makes us to start debates like this, right? In fact, it would have been really possible, and rightly so, if the Chief Minister vociferously said, no, I had urged the people to have more than 2 children. He could have said it. He didn't say it. But he wants to indirectly, subtly start a debate, right? Why? Because BJP is forcing us in that direction. Because they want to do petty politics and do things that will show...
No, that's you see...
which will actually increase their winning probability in the near term, but which would be...
Mr. Dharani Dharan, you're saying the BJP wants to do politics...
the country in the long term, right?
The BJP wants... There should be a separate debate on delimitation. The problem is now delimitation is getting linked to population. These could well be two different issues. Your concerns over delimitation should be met. Perhaps that has to be a separate debate. Poonam Mutreja, is there a worry as we see even now that issues are getting confused? That the political parties of the southern chief ministers are worried that their political influence will decline because of delimitation in a couple of years after the next census. As and when that happens, they will have fewer seats in the Lok Sabha. But the economic and social costs of a booming, of a large population will hit other sectors of the economy. Are we confusing the economic, social and political consequences of what is being suggested?
You know, population issues in India, whichever way you look at them, there is confusion in spite of the fact that we have rich demographic data. We knew, so the conflating the politics and dumping it on women is something that I would not expect from the two chief ministers, which have invested in women and have a legacy for investing in women's education and health, as I said earlier. So it is being conflated, it is being confused, and the wrong message is being sent not only to the people outside India, inside India, but to the women, that all that we do is try and control women's fertility, either grow more, have more children, or less have children, and this is so flawed. You don't expect...
But is Mr. Naidu does he have a point that we could reach an aging population by 2047? He's sending out a warning. He's sending out some kind of a warning. Is it a healthy debate to have or not have at all?
It is a healthy debate to have. In fact, I hope we can separate it from the politics of delimitation and have that debate in India, because the aging society is not only a problem for the future, it is a problem already in much of South, and that is very legitimate, his raising that question, but also in the North. And we do not have, as you know, Rajdeep, social security for older people. For months and years, we've had senior citizens sitting in Jantar Mantar because they don't have money for medicines. We need social security, we need better health system, and we need greater care and concern so that we don't have yet another disaster, which is the silver. It should be a silver dividend where we are taking care of our older people and not having the wrong debate, which is leading to asking women to have more children. Instead, let's have smart strategies. I expect that of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu for his state, like Kerala's doing. You know, Kerala's already preparing well for its aging population, investing in geriatric care, starting camps. This is an issue which they're dealing with more constructively.
So you're saying the real issue should be how do you invest in geriatric care? How do you invest to come to terms with an aging population rather than tell young India have more children? Am I correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's flawed to tell young India to have more children. Let's instead take care of our aging population. We must do that in any case, regardless of the debate and the reasons behind the debate, which is totally influenced by the impending delimitation exercise, which I do want to say is unfair to the South. We have to find a good solution and debate more on this in finding a win-win solution for the southern part of India.
Okay, let's leave it there. And that is an issue which could concern every part of India, geriatric care. And maybe Mr. Naidu can offer some solutions there. He's someone who's been known to be a chief minister who offers innovative solutions. He's even talked about a skills census instead of a caste census. But has he on this occasion with his remarks perhaps changed the terms of the debate over population? That's something to think of, particularly in the context of delimitation that's not too far away. Let's turn to another of our top stories. The national capital once again choking under toxic air. A heavy smog has blanketed Delhi NCR. Air quality has plummeted once again into poor and very poor categories. With the current AQI standing at 317, it could even surpass 400 in the coming days. Why is it that year after year, nothing seems to change? Here's a detailed report.
Delhi chokes under a blanket of smog. The air quality index on Tuesday was above 300 or very poor, with projections indicating it may cross 400 or the severe category in the next few days. Authorities have implemented the Graded Response Action Plan 2, ushering in a series of emergency measures aimed at controlling pollution. Parking fees have been raised, restrictions placed on generator use, CNG and electric buses are being added to the fleet, the metro has ramped up its services, offering more frequent trains to reduce road congestion. Road sweeping and sprinkling operations have intensified, particularly around traffic hotspots, as dust from roads contributes significantly to air pollution. Construction sites have also been instructed to increase dust control measures. Smog towers, however, continue to remain shut. The situation is set to worsen over the coming days as farm fires rise in the neighbouring states of Punjab and Haryana. In Kaithal in Haryana, authorities have arrested 14 farmers for stubble burning. Farmers argue that they lack proper resources to manage stubble, leaving them no choice but to burn their fields.
किसान कहाँ जाएगा? ये बताओ, गेहूं ने भी लेट होने लग रहे हैं, कोई ना साधन दे रखा गवर्नमेंट ने. एक गांव में मशीन है, हमारे गांव में पड़ला में एक मशीन है. अगर वो ना जलाएगा तो वो क्या करेगा? इतना महंगा ठेका दे रखा, दाने पहले मंडी में दाने नहीं बिक रहे.
Adding to the environmental crisis, thick layers of toxic foam float along the Yamuna River, particularly around Delhi's Kalindi Kunj area. The Delhi government on Tuesday sprayed defoamers into the river. Meanwhile, the ruling Aam Aadmi Party and opposition BJP, as usual, traded charges on who's responsible for the capital's mess.
दिल्ली के चारों तरफ केंद्र में भाजपा की सरकार है, उत्तर प्रदेश में भाजपा की सरकार है, हरियाणा में भाजपा की सरकार है, जो है राजस्थान में भाजपा की सरकार है, केंद्र में भाजपा की सरकार है. आपको ये जानकर के आश्चर्य होगा कि पंजाब के अंदर पराली जलने की घटनाएं लगातार कम हो रही हैं और इस बार उत्तर प्रदेश और हरियाणा के अंदर पराली जलने की घटनाएं लगातार बढ़ रही हैं.
10 साल में केजरीवाल बताएं कि 10 साल में उनकी सरकार ने पॉल्यूशन को दिल्ली से हटाने के लिए कौन से ऐसे कदम उठाए कि आज न केवल प्रदूषण बल्कि सफाई और अन्य व्यवस्थाओं से दिल्ली बदहाल हो गई है.
आज स्थिति ये है कि दिल्ली के अंदर एयर पोल्यूशन वेरी पुअर स्थिति पे पहुंच चुका है और अरविंद केजरीवाल जी इसके लिए जिम्मेदार पंजाब की सरकार को ना करने के बजाय जहां 65% स्टबल बर्निंग होती है उत्तर प्रदेश और हरियाणा को कर रहे हैं.
Bang in the middle of the festive season as winter approaches, residents of Delhi NCR could be staring at another long stretch of toxic air.
It is already 319 AQI overall in the national capital, and the impact is such that at ITO, where we are standing right now, you can see a haziness in the sky, and the iconic PWD department building at the ITO, that's also somehow covered in a hazy sky. With video journalist Sagun Bhardwaj, Zamit Bhardwaj reporting for India Today from Delhi.
To an only in India kind of story, a 37-year-old man, Maurice Samuel Christian, was arrested by the Ahmedabad police for running a fake arbitration tribunal from 2019 to 2024, deceiving clients into believing he was a legitimate judge. That's right. A judge in Gujarat had created the appearance that he was actually a real one. Turned out to be fake. Take a look.
A fake judge, a fake court and a fake verdict. The Ahmedabad police have arrested 37-year-old Maurice Samuel Christian for running a fraudulent arbitration tribunal. His elaborate plot involved passing fake orders and defrauding clients. Between 2019 and 2024, Christian operated out of an office in Gandhinagar that was designed to resemble a courtroom. He targeted those with ongoing land disputes, promising to resolve their cases for a fee.
मुझे यहाँ पे ऐसा बोला हुआ था कि मुझे यहाँ वकील की ऑफिस करनी है और मेरी 21 सेक्टर में ऑफिस चल रही है। वो जगह मुझे अच्छी नहीं लग रही है, यहाँ पे हवा उजास ज़्यादा है, इसलिए यहाँ पे मुझे ऑफिस करनी है और वकील की ऑफिस करनी है। यहाँ पे 10 या 15 स्टाफ वाले भी थे और यूनिफॉर्म में सब आ रहे थे और यहाँ वकील की ऑफिस चला रहे थे।
The fraud came to light after civil judge Rajdeep Sardesai filed a complaint based on instructions from a higher court.
उसने क्या किया है, आर्बिट्रेटर तरीके काम करते हुए उसने जो गवर्नमेंट पक्षकार हो जहाँ एक तरफ और दूसरी तरफ अदर पार्टी हो, ऐसी जो जमीनें हैं उनमें कुछ लिटिगेशन या किसी ने कुछ विवाद दाखिल करवा रखा है, तो उसमें उसने खुद ने जो अवार्ड है वो जाहिर कर दिया। अवार्ड के अंदर कि इस पार्टी को इतना दिया जाए, इस पार्टी को इतना दिया जाए, ऐसे करके उसने अवार्ड जाहिर कर दिया है।
For nearly 5 years, Christian manipulated vulnerable individuals entangled in land disputes in a courtroom that never was. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, let's turn to a good news story as we end the show tonight. India has been battling multiple landslide tragedies. The latest, remember, was in Wayanad earlier this year, where 200 people at least lost their lives. Now, IIT Delhi scientists and engineers have developed an app to map landslide-prone areas and hopefully curb the loss of life. You take a look at that story as I leave you tonight. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Landslides now a common occurrence in the Himalayas and Western Ghats. This year, over 200 people died in Wayanad as 3 villages were buried by a landslide. Scientists and engineers at IIT Delhi have developed an app for mapping landslides. The developers claim that app, called Cascade, can give the landslide history of any area.
तो इसमें जो ग्रे एरिया है बेसिकली वो लैंडस्लाइड अफेक्टेड एरिया है, लेकिन इसका आपको मैन्युअली मैपिंग करने का भी जरूरत नहीं है। इस जो वाइट है वो हमारे टूल ने एक्सपोर्ट करके दिया है, हमने इसको लोड करके आपको दिखाया है। लेकिन इस तरह की मैपिंग आप किसी भी लैंडस्लाइड 2014 से लेकर आज तक, बिकॉज हम लोगों ने ये एक ओपन सोर्स टूल बनाया है, पब्लिकली अवेलेबल है, फ्रीली अवेलेबल है पब्लिक के लिए, आप इसको यूज कर सकते हैं और कोई भी लैंडस्लाइड आप खुद से ही मैप कर सकते हैं।
The developers claim the app will help citizens to detect if the land they buy is fit for building houses or not.
हर जगह ग्राउंड रूटिंग करना संभव नहीं है, तो इस तरह के टूल आपको रिहेबिलिटेशन एफर्ट्स, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्लानिंग, लोगों के लिए कहाँ पे रिहेबिलिटेट करना है, उस तरह के प्लानिंग में ये टूल काम आ सकती है।
The app has details of landslides since 2014. Developers say it can be used for infrastructure planning, rescue and rehabilitation efforts. Bureau Report, India Today.